From the Denver Broncos Media Center, welcome to Broncos Country Tonight.
Welcome to Broncos Country Tonight as we break down the Broncos' win over the Jacksonville Jaguars in London, 21-17. And to help me do that, the great Steve Atwater in studio. What up, At?
What up, R? It was good to see you, man.
Just got off the plane. You come rolling in here to do some work. That's dedication.
Hey, man, you're here. I got to be here. You know, we made this commitment early on, so, hey, we're getting it done.
I appreciate it. No, I hit you. No, you tell the truth. I hit you up yesterday while you were still in London and said, hey, would you mind coming in?
You text me. You sent me shot me a text message.
Yeah, I did. I said, hey, man, I know you got like a 9-hour flight. Your whole world is going to be upside down, but they just won, so I've got to imagine you're pretty amped to come in studio and talk about it.
Yeah, I was definitely fired up, man. So happy for the guys, and you know, obviously happy to get back and chat with you because I hadn't seen you in so long, Ryan. It's been a whole week.
A whole week. It's ridiculous. All right, well, let's talk about the game a little bit. So again, in some ways, the game started out just like it has been, right? The offense seemed to be struggling a little bit. The defense doing what they're doing, trying to keep the team in it. But there were mistakes made. 10 penalties in the first half. There were certainly some things the Broncos need to clean up. But what I did love about it in the end is both sides of the ball really picked each other up when they needed to.
Yeah, both sides of the ball really had to come through. The offense there in the end, you know, they kind of going back and forth with the Jags. And, you know, we're fortunately able to get that final touchdown there. And I think they got over a little bit of a hump there, you know, because – for the longest, we've been getting to the red zone, not been able to score. And we had, 3 touchdowns this game. And, you know, I think
3 for 3 in the red zone.
Yeah, 3 in the red zone. And that's big time. Defense, obviously, I'm sure they're not happy about the number of rushing yards that they gave up. But in the end, they still made the plays when they had to. Both Justin Simmons and K'Wan Williams, big-time plays, man.
Yeah. Big-time plays. Well, and Nick Bonito had the strip sack,
yes.
Which, again, the ball didn't quite bounce their way, but you saw some nice flashes from him. Josie Jewell made some great plays. Anytime they, you know, and Jacksonville really likes to run those screens, whether it's with the tight ends or the running backs, and the Broncos just were there almost every single time, it felt like.
Yeah, it was amazing because, you know, Trevor Lawrence, unfortunately, his deep passes were off. Yeah. I mean, like, they weren't even close, and we know that he's a great quarterback, and eventually he's going to hit his stride. I'm glad he didn't hit it while playing against us, but you know, I thought that they would try to just kind of dink and dunk because the intermediate passes, deep passes, he just wasn't very accurate. So I think they gave our linebackers confidence that hey, probably gonna be a shorter pass, and I got to make a break on it and make some good plays, and they did that.
Yeah, well, and one of the things that Jacksonville Jaguars have done up to this point in the season. We'll talk more specifically about the Broncos, but with the Jacksonville Jaguars, they just kind of find ways to make mistakes. They get drives bogged down. They get a penalty, a turnover. Like you saw when they got to midfield or just past midfield, it just every single time something would happen, they'd have a negative play, whether it was a penalty or their own something they did, and they just get bogged down. They end up having to punt. Now the Broncos had longer fields than usual, but again, that's something the defense was able to capitalize on, and it's only a matter of time. You at least hope that the offense will as well.
Yeah, it's amazing because, like I said, they had the running game going, but they just really couldn't get anything when they had to, and the defense fortunately was able to make the stops when they really needed to on defense. But yeah, I mean, I give the Jacksonville Jaguars credit. They came out, they moved the ball, they had good yardage, but in the end, they just couldn't punch it in the end zone. Unfortunately, we were able to get in more times than they did, and obviously, it wasn't a perfect game from us, offensively or defensively, but at the end of the day, as long as you get the win, you can go back and correct all those other things.
Well, that's exactly right. The Broncos haven't played a perfect game, if you will, right, all season long. And eventually you, I guess, have to let go a little bit of that because that's just who you are until proven otherwise, right?
I don't know if I've ever seen a perfect game.
Well, no, probably not.
A much better game. Now, we can play a much better game offensively and defensively as well.
Well, we've seen games that are clean in all three phases, right? Where you say, well, hey, very minimal penalties, no turnovers, executed the opportunities when they were there, and maybe you come up short, maybe you win. But in this case, for this game, yeah, you didn't play a perfect game on really all three phases, but you got to be able to work within the margins you're given. And so for the Broncos, it's about widening those margins as much as possible because they've been so narrow. It's one mistake, it's too many penalties, it's all sorts of things that end up contributing to inevitable losses.
We had 10 penalties in the first half.
No.
And that was so disappointing, really, just because we know that that's been one of their major issues throughout really this whole first third or one half of the season.
Yeah, about a half season.
They've been the penalties have been a big thorn in our side, and
but only 2 in the second half.
Only 2 in the second half, much better in the second half. Yeah. But still, overall, end up being 12 penalties, and
it's a lot.
You just makes it much more difficult to win ball games when you have that many penalties. You're really just stepping on your own feet, and that's one thing that I was hoping would get cleared up. It wasn't. The guys got to start doing, hey, every time we get a penalty, whoever is the cause of it, 25 push-ups, 50 whatever. You got to do something to make sure that it's in your mind that you're thinking about, I'm not going to make these mistakes that I should not make.
All right, well, that's your new job. I know you already have
25 push-ups every penalty.
You already have a plethora of jobs, but every time there's a penalty, you're going to be the one enforcing it.
I'm the push-up police.
It's an official title, just created. Let's talk about the offense here for a little bit. Now, again, Russ got off to a bit of a shaky start, almost threw an interception in the very first play, did throw an interception a few plays later, but they were able to get on track. What did you notice? Is there something that clicked suddenly for them that you think might have been something they can use?
Well, I think a lot of the plays have been there. We really haven't. Something would happen on every play, whether it's an offensive lineman, breaking down and not being able to block his guy, or we miss a receiver that he's open and we don't really get the ball to them. But once things started clicking, we had fewer of those things happening, and Russ was able to see the field clearly and was able to deliver some amazing passes. I know he had the one that was almost intercepted and the other one that was intercepted. Everybody's upset about that, but guess what? There's going to be some of that, especially at the quarterback position. But overall, I thought he played a really solid game. And the guys, they made plays. Jerry Jeudy came in with big plays. Of course, Greg Dulcich, come on, man.
Come on, man.
I got to give him his props. And I was hoping that's what would happen, but for me, I got to see it. I got to see guys play in NFL games before, even a preseason game, before I say, oh, yeah, this guy can do it. He's a real deal.
Hey, man, we talked about it in the preseason. I told you how special he could be. I'm just glad to finally see that you could finally see what I saw coming out of college.
So you want me to say it?
Go for it.
You're right.
Thank you. I needed that. We're all in a good mood because they got the win. But I tell you what, they worked at tempo. And I think when they did go to tempo, that did help a little bit.
Yeah, but sometimes we've done that in past games, and it's kind of bitten us in the rear end because you go up tempo and you get a penalty, or you don't do your assignment, you don't block correctly, and then you end up 3 and out. And guess what? You've only taken 30, 45 seconds off the clock, and that really puts the defense in a bind because now they got to go right back on the field from when they've been from the previous time they've been on the field, and it just takes a lot of air out and energy out of the defense. So I'm glad they were able. When it's working, is amazing. I love it. But when it's not working, you got to kind of cut back on it.
Okay, so it's again, as we're sort of trying to figure out this team, and I think they're trying to figure out what they're really good at and what they can lean on. Working at tempo, but understanding that's just maybe a way to mix things up a little bit if you're sort of stuck in a rut. And it also seems like as soon as they got that first down, that they were just going to move right down the field. Yeah. That first down for the Broncos just seems so important to the confidence of this team. It's like as soon as they get that, even when Cortland Sutton caught that slant and was just the one catch he had for the whole game, they just went right down the field, and it seemed like they were the offense they were always supposed to be right after they got the first down. But until then, every other drive was 3 and out. And I'd say, it hasn't been consistently like that for every single game, but I'd say for this game specifically and for what they can take a look at it, say, hey, maybe our focus sheet should be on just, hey, how do we get this first down? And let's build off that, because this team seems to really build off of that momentum pretty quick.
Well, I mean, I go a step further than that. I say folks got to be on how can we make this one play a great play?
Sure.
And, obviously you want that to happen. You want to put together the first downs and the long drives and the touchdowns and all that. But it all starts with the play that you're on right now and everybody executing at a high level. And, I hear a lot of guys talking about, we got to win the game. We got to do this, got to do that. No, you got to play one play and be the best you can on that one play. And when you have 11 guys doing that, guess what? You're going to win a lot of football games. You're going to have a whole bunch of all the other stuff, great stats, turnovers, the whole 9 yards. But if you don't have that one thing, that the starting thing where Guys are giving it their all. They know exactly what their responsibilities are, and they're giving it they're just full tilt. You're not going to get to the end.
So we're in the bye week now, and of course we got the trade deadline, all those things on the other side of this. But bye week, Broncos have the Titans, they got the Raiders, they have the Panthers. So they have some games they actually should be able to be competitive in. Where's the mindset of this team? What do you think, like in this very moment? Is it just, hey, finally we got the loss out of the way, right? We're finally broke the losing streak? Or is it, we got this win, it's time to build on it?
Well, it's got to be, hey, we got this win. Obviously you want to get rid of the losing streak, get that behind you, and then, again, just stack one play, man. Understand what you got to do and give it 110% every single play. And, you can't, don't use trying to forecast what the record's going to be. We got to beat Jacksonville, and then we got to beat this team. We got to do that. No, don't focus on all that. Focus on this next opponent now. We're going to have the Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry, he's going to be licking his chops after seeing what Travis Etienne did. But guess what? If we come out and play, we can hold them to under 100 yards.
Well, and they've had the Broncos defense historically has had some pretty good success against Derrick Henry. Houston Texans run defense in the game yesterday is a little bit different. They've been struggling all season. Josh Jacobs was another guy that they gave up a lot of rushing yards to the previous week. So, I would say that whatever happens over these next couple of weeks, which I hope is a little bit of a deep dive into what they're doing, maybe taking some of those successes they found against Jacksonville, maybe going under center a little bit more.
Oh, man, yes. Oh, man, I love that. I'm like, yes.
But it was only 11 plays, like 11 of the 61. Like, but in crucial situations, right? Yeah, right. So that's good. That's good. Yeah,
fourth down.
Quarterback sneak, goal line.
Yes.
Not throwing it in shotgun on goal line or 4th and 1 situations. Yes, if you want to talk about baby steps forward for what the offense could be, I hope that is something they build on.
Yeah, because for defense, it makes it so much more difficult for defense when the quarterback's under center, especially 4th and 1, 3rd and short. In the red zone. You don't know if he's going to sneak it, try to run right between the gaps. So you got to put extra guys in the gaps. And then guess what? Now that opens up the pass game.
Yeah, if you go play action all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah, it opens it up. But if you line up in shotgun, you don't have to necessarily put guys in those gaps like that because the quarterback can't get there as quickly. So I'm hoping that we continue to do that. I thought the second half, really, man, from the second quarter on, offense did, it was kind of up and down, but when we had to make plays, we did, and I'm really happy for the guys. Go all the way over there to London, travel such a long way, and to come back with the win is special.
How was the flight back?
It was great.
Yeah?
It was great. Yeah, I watched a couple of movies, reminisced on the time we had there. My wife, she was able to come out, and we had quite a few functions that we did with the Broncos. Broncos fans, it's crazy. I thought when we went to Mexico, it was crazy. London was equally as crazy, man. Just with the number of fans that were there, it was awesome getting the chance to interact with them and seeing from all the different places that they're from. They're not just from London, especially over in London, man. London is a melting pot, man. They had people from all over, Germany, Norway, Australia. Man, they were from all over the place. A lot of people from Africa there. It was cool. It was super cool. We had a wonderful time.
Anybody ask you to sign their DVD copy of Dead Tone?
No, but somebody asked me about. They're like, "Hey, man, can you give me a copy of that Patchwork Blue?"
Nobody said that. No. For Steve Atwater, thank you for breaking it down with me. For Steve Atwater, I'm Ryan Edwards. Thanks for watching Broncos Country Tonight.
Denver's gonna win. You can stand up and salute in Denver, and you got the world champions that live in your town.